Hey guys, I am happy to report that I was finally able to get my hands on some ingredients to bring you another recipes video. Mainly eggs and chocolate chips. Thanks, COVID-19. So here we go. Now, you might be wondering about my attire today. Believe me, it was almost PJs. This sweater and this scarf have to do with our recipe today. As we all probably know by now, the Olympics and the People's Olympics, as I like to call it, the Boston Marathon have been postponed. Very sad, but it is for the best. Anyway, I thought I'd do a recipe today to honor both. So my scarf is because I am Team USA all the way, and the Boston Marathon is normally ran on Patriots Day. And my sweater gives me some Catherine Switzer vibes. Now, this recipe comes from the kitchen of Olympian. Well, her mother's kitchen, whose husband recently ran the Boston Marathon. I think it was his first full as well. She would have ran it too, but she was pregnant with their first child at the time. I am of course talking about the gymnastic champion Shawn Johnson East. She is one of my favorite gymnasts, and I love their YouTube channel, The East Family. Go check it out if you haven't. She's mentioned this recipe and a couple more on her channel recently. So I'm super excited about this. We are going to make pumpkin bread. As normal, I've got my oven preheating and I've washed my hands. So let's jump into the rest of the recipe. Gotta use my pumpkin measuring cups here. Okay, the first step is to beat 5 eggs into a mixing bowl. So I have my trash can here. I'm just gonna crack these eggs. Hope for no shells. 1, helps to count out loud. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to beat these up. I always start out on the lower speed because I'm afraid I don't want egg on my face. I think that's good. So my next direction is to add 1 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and a can of pumpkin to this and beat it until it's smooth. So let me go ahead and get that all measured out. I couldn't find my pumpkin 1/4 cup, so I have to do with this for now, I guess. And now the pumpkin. It's a 15-ounce can of packed pumpkin. This is what I'm using right here. I have a spoon here in case it doesn't want to come out. This does not look appetizing, I'm not gonna lie. Pumpkin's not my favorite flavor, but I find when I have it in baked goods, it doesn't give off like a really strong flavor. It just helps the whatever you're baking it into stay really moist. I know my sister-in-law doesn't like that word. It makes the texture really great. I found that out when I made pumpkin chocolate chip cookies for kind of a Cinderella themed dinner that I was doing. So I think I'm gonna add chocolate chips to the bread as well, but getting ahead of myself. Now I'm gonna beat this until it's smooth. It smells kind of like baby food. Okay, I think we've got it there. I'll turn the camera so you can see what I see. That looks pretty smooth to me. Moving on. The next instructions are to combine the remaining ingredients and then gradually beat them into the pumpkin mix. So I've got another bowl so that I can kind of combine them in here and then slowly mix them into the bigger bowl. So the next ingredients are 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of sugar. I made kind of a mess with the flour, not gonna lie. Next are 2 3-ounce packages of vanilla pudding mix, and you mix those in with your dry ingredients. I have the family size package of vanilla pudding mix, which is 5.1 ounces. So I may just use 1, and I'll be a few ounces short, but I hope it'll do. Gotta get every little bit here. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Oh, yeah, well, good thing I have the time. I'll clean that up later. 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon. Ground cinnamon always reminds me of McDonald's for some reason. I think it's because we used to have one of those like McDonald's drive-through like toy kitchens and ovens, and that smells like one of their mixes they used to have or something. I don't know, but it always just reminds me of McDonald's. Hey, it's all American, right? And then half a teaspoon of salt. Maybe I should throw some of this over my shoulder. What do y'all think? Might be wise. Okay, half a teaspoon salt. You know, I am cleaning anyway. Yikes. I think it went down my shirt. I'm also going to put chocolate chips in here. She doesn't have chocolate chips in her original recipe. It's kind of an optional add-on. So she doesn't really have an amount. I'm gonna go for a cup. Well, I said that, but then let's see how much we have left. It's about a half, so let's just use all of those, shall we? Just gonna combine this real quick, just a stir, really. I used this particular spatula so that I could smooth the tops when I put my batter in the tins. Not the best choice for maybe combining, but it works. Now we are going to gradually beat this into this. Let's see if I can do this. We're just gonna slowly pour. I'm gonna turn my mixer on slow, just to start with. Pour a little bit of the mixture, get that in there. Smells much better with that vanilla pudding mix in it. I get to a smooth texture each time before I add another batch. Of course, it can't be completely smooth now that it has the chocolate chips in there, but pretty smooth. You don't want to see any of the flour or the sugar. I saw on one of the baking shows I watched, though, that if you kind of flour some of these chocolate chips, that supposedly they don't like sink all to the bottom. They kind of stay distributed throughout the baked good. These were definitely dredged in flour, so I guess we'll see if that's true. Almost to the bottom of my mixture here. You know what's sad? I have the trash can that I threw the eggshells in about a foot short of where all the things I dropped on my floor were. Just a foot closer and I wouldn't have made a mess, but that's all right. Again, gives me something to do. It's getting a little harder to mix just because of all the flour and the pumpkin in there. So I might turn it up a bit here. One last burst. Let me show you what it looks like now. Now her next instruction is to pour this batter into 5 greased mini loaf pans. I couldn't get mini loaf pans. I did have 2 of the regular size loaf pans, so I've greased those. She didn't have the time difference that these will bake at as opposed to mini loaf pans, so I'm just going to put them in the same way I would with the mini loaf pans, but then check them at the end of the minis time, because the mini loaves should bake faster than these, so that should give me time to check on them every couple minutes to see if they're done. So let's get these in the pans. Oh boy. I'm just gonna eyeball what half is and hope that I get this in the pan while also holding the camera. It's pretty heavy, not gonna lie. I think I got these as equal and level as they're gonna get. I'm gonna put them on a pan together just so it's easy to get out at the same time. So we're going to put these into our 325-degree oven for 50 to 55 minutes. Remember though, that is the time for the mini loaves. I usually bake things to the full time in this oven, so at 55 minutes, I will use a toothpick or a tester of some sort and see if it comes out clean. If it doesn't, then I'll check it every couple of minutes until it does. Here we go. Feel like I'm in the Great British Bake Off right now. Anybody else binging that show right now? Anyone? That Paul Hollywood is a teddy bear, isn't he? Test 1, let's see how this goes. This is at the same time as the mini loaves, and it's wiggling on top. So I'm not even going to put this in. I'm going to put it on for another 2 minutes and then check it again. Let me show you what I mean by it was wiggling. Okay, let's try this again. A couple minutes later, it's still pretty jiggly on top. So we're going to go a couple more minutes. Round 3. Let's see what this is looking like now. Woo! Almost lost it. I think it's still going to need more. The edges are certainly getting there. See how loose that is? Yeah, it's still got quite a bit to go. I'm gonna do another 5 minutes this time. They are getting there, but I'm still seeing some jiggle. So I'm going to do 5 more minutes again. Let's see. Round, I don't know what we're on now. Just like I don't really know the day sometimes. Okay, let's test it out here. Ooh, it's hot. It's still very, yeah, it's still very liquidy. 5 more minutes, I guess. Believe it or not, we are getting there. I'm just having to play with the timing because of the size of the loaf pans. Back in. Well, it's definitely brown on the edges, so let's see here. But we like to test in the middle. I think we've done it, ladies and gentlemen. So her next instruction, at least on the recipe I saw, was to cool on wine racks. I think she meant wire racks. So I'm going to put these on the wire racks for a few minutes and make sure my oven and everything is off. All right, I've allowed the bread to cool for about 10 minutes, and now is the moment of truth, tasting time. I'm not going to cut myself a slice, I'm just gonna dig in there. It's not ladylike exactly, but there you go. And the scores from the American judge, who has been judging quite harshly today, are coming in. Yes, let's see what the American judge has to say. And it's a perfect 10, a perfect 10. She's even going in for another bite, Bob. All right, there we have it, a recipe fit for a champion. Please like, comment with your gold medal worthy treats. Subscribe and ring the bell 2 times for notifications. Bye guys. I'm not sure I'm gonna have the strength to deliver this to a neighbor.